Hi guys, I'm here to talk to you today about run-on sentences. These are some of the most common errors that I see in student papers, so I'm excited to talk through this with you today. All right, so let's start off with the definition. What are run-on sentences, or run-ons for short? A run-on is two complete thoughts run together with no adequate sign given to mark the break between them. When it says no adequate sign, it means no punctuation. You've taken two full sentences, two complete sentences, and smooshed them together without any punctuation to separate them or join them. There are two common types of run-ons that we typically see. The first kind is what is called fused sentences. What that is it's when you have two complete thoughts with no punctuation at all to mark the break between the thoughts. So that's kind of what I was talking about earlier. You've taken two separate sentences and sort of smooshed them together. You've fused them together without any punctuation to indicate how they're connected. The second, this is an example of a fused sentence. My grades are very good this semester. My social life rate's only a C. If we were punctuating these correctly, we would probably put a period after the word semester, and we have two complete sentences. My grades are very good this semester, period. Capitalize the M in my social life rate's only a C. There's also another way we can fix that, but we'll talk about it later. But you can see that there's two separate thoughts kind of smushed together. Here's another example. Our father was a madman in his youth. He would do anything on a dare. So the period could go here after youth. Our father was a madman in his youth, period. He would do anything on a dare. So you've taken two complete sentences and smushed them together. The other kind of type of run-on is where you have comma splices. It's where two complete thoughts are connected or spliced together by a comma. The problem is a comma alone is not enough to connect two complete thoughts. A comma alone is not strong enough to hold those together. Examples, using the same sentence as earlier. My grades are very good this semester, comma, my social life rate's only a C, is a comma splice. The comma is not enough to hold those two sentences together. Same here. Our father was a madman in his youth, comma, he would do anything on a dare. The comma is not enough. You cannot join two sentences with just a comma. Couple warnings. Comma splices are actually the most common kind of run-on. Those are the ones that happen most frequently, and they're the ones that I see most often in student papers. Commas alone are never sufficient. A stronger, clearer mark is needed to separate two complete thoughts. And even if you are trying to join two complete thoughts, a comma alone is still never sufficient. It always needs to be paired with something else. People often write run-ons when the second complete thought begins with one of the following words. Oop, there we are. Remember to be on the alert for run-ons whenever you use one of these words in writing a paper. So if your second complete sentence begins with I, we, there, now, you, they, this, then, that, next, he, she, it, we generally end up accidentally writing run-ons. So you want to be really careful about that. All right, so how do you correct these things? There are actually 4 methods for correcting run-ons. And some of them work all the time. Others are for certain situations. It depends which one you use, depends on what you're trying to do as a writer. So the first method is to use a period and a capital letter to break the two complete thoughts into separate sentences. This is the most basic and the easiest way to correct run-ons. You could also use a comma plus a conjunction. You remember fanboys from middle school, for, and, nor, but, or, yet, so, to connect the two complete thoughts. You can use a semicolon to connect the two complete thoughts. Fancy, fancy. Or you can use subordination, which is even fancier. And don't worry, I'll explain what that means. Okay, so use a period and a capital letter to break the two complete thoughts into separate sentences. This method is especially useful if the thoughts are not closely related, or if another method would make the sentence too long. So my grades are very good this semester. My social life rate's only a C. That was our example sentence from earlier. And our father was a madman in his youth. He would do anything on a dare. easy way to fix these, put a period after semester and capitalize the M in social life and my. And then you have two complete sentences. Same thing down here. Our father was a madman in his youth, period. Capitalize the H. He would do anything on a dare. Nice and easy. You could also use a comma plus a conjunction because remember, commas alone aren't enough. They have to have conjunctions with them in order to work, to connect the two complete thoughts. So be careful to use the correct conjunction to make your meaning clear. So just as a reminder with your fanboys, when you're using and, it means in addition to. So the second sentence is in addition to the first sentence or idea. His feet hurt from the long hike, comma, and his stomach was growling. So we're adding along to it. Not only did his feet hurt, but his stomach also was growling. But means however, except on the other hand, the opposite. So in our example, I remembered to get the cocoa, I did this, but I forgot the marshmallows. For means because, or the reason why, or the cause of something. When you're using for, you're introducing a cause. She was afraid of not doing well in the course, comma, for she had always had bad luck with English before. So means as a result or therefore. So whatever comes after so needs to be a result. The windshield wiper was broken. So she was, comma, so she was in trouble when the rain started. Those are probably the most common ones. You can also use a semicolon to connect the two complete thoughts. Again, a little bit fancier here, but still a lot of fun to do. The semicolon, which as you'll see up here, is the dot with the comma below it. So it's the same button as the colon on your computer keyboard, but you don't press the shift key to get to it. You just hit it. It's also the winky face, the eyes for the winky face emoji, in case you were wondering. The actual name of it, though, is the semicolon, and it signals more of a pause than a comma, but not quite the full pause of a period. So it's kind of between a comma and a period. A semicolon alone, unlike a comma, can be used to connect two complete thoughts. So a semicolon is a bit stronger. It can hold two complete thoughts together all on its own. It does not need a conjunction to do that. The hurricane caused record flooding across the state, semicolon. It also knocked out power for millions. That sentence is correct. You can do that. It's a great way to join those two pieces together, especially because the two sentences are very closely related. She was afraid of not doing well in the course, semicolon. She had always had bad luck with English before. Again, powerful enough that it can hold the two sentences together, especially when the two sentences are closely related. A semicolon is also sometimes used with a transitional word and a comma to join two complete thoughts. As in this case, we were short of money, semicolon, therefore, which is a transitional word, and you put a comma after the transitional word. We decided not to eat out that weekend. That is the correct way to do that. We were short of money, semicolon, therefore, comma, we decided not to eat out that weekend. Or, I had a paper to write, semicolon, however, comma, my brain had stopped working for the night. Here are a whole big list of transitional words to use with semicolons. There's a transitional word on the left, and then what it means is on the right. So for example, transitional words, however, nevertheless, and on the other hand, can all be used in place of the word but. They mean the same thing. Words like in addition, also, moreover, and furthermore mean the same thing as and. Okay, subordination is probably the most tricky thing, but it is also probably the most sophisticated way of joining your sentences together. So subordination is a way of showing that one thought in a sentence is not as important as another thought. So when you have two thoughts, you want to emphasize that one of these is more important than the other, you can use subordination to do that in your sentence structure. For example, when the window shade snapped up like a gunshot, her cat leaped 4 feet off the floor. The more important part of that sentence is that her cat leaped 4 feet off the floor. The other part of the sentence is not as important. So we